To all those above me that watch over me, to all of you, my fave parapeeps on this side of the veil, welcome. This is Shawn Whittington's Paranormal Ministry Live 2.0. I'm your host, Shawn Whittington. I'm a seminarian in the United States Old Catholic Church, and I'm coming to you live from my haunted house, my very haunted house, where I live. And it hasn't been quiet today, but that has nothing to do with the ghost. It has something to do with my new landscaping team that got here at 7 a.m., sawing trees down and doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I'm running on a lot of coffee and very little sleep, so bear with me. But now there you go. Dreamcatcher's starting to spin. So the spirits are showing up. You know why? Because of my guest today. She hasn't been on in a long time, and they're looking forward to having her on today as much as I am. I missed her. Don't know why she doesn't. I'm going to ask her if she still loves me because she doesn't come on my show nearly as often as I'd like her to. So anyway, what do I want to tell you guys? Did everybody enjoy the Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists marathon this past Tuesday on Travel? You know what's funny? I really did. I never binge watch anything, and I watched the episodes when they aired the first time, but I really enjoyed sitting there and binge watching the series. I really enjoyed it, like more of just a spectator this time than looking at it a different way, I guess, when it first came on. But I didn't know so many people enjoy binge watching because I've just heard nothing but um, really nice people reaching out to me about the series. So thank you all for that. And if you missed it the first time around and missed the marathon, it is streaming on Discovery Plus and Max, and you can buy the whole complete season one for like $10 at Amazon Prime Video. So, but for everybody that's reached out to me with kind words about the series, hoping there's a season two, God bless you all for that. It means a lot to me. What else do I want to say to you guys? Let's check the prayer urn. James P. Hi, James, from Las Vegas, Nevada. I can't remember the last time I got somebody from Vegas sending me a prayer request. I'm a baptized Catholic. Over many years, I have drifted away from my church, lost my faith, and now my life sucks. You almost got me to crack up there, but I know this is a serious note, so I didn't. James. How can I find God again? P.S. I've done bad things. Well, guess what? God forgives you, and you're a baptized Catholic, and you know that. And I'm not going to tell you anything you probably don't already know, James. Find a really nice Catholic church close to you. Go there on a Saturday, go to confession, go back the next day on Sunday, attend Mass, receive Holy Communion, and start praying again, brother. Come on. We can do this together. Start praying together. But I'm going to be selfish here. I'm going to use this opportunity to offer up a prayer for you that happens to be my newest favorite prayer, and it's out of the St. Benedict prayer book. And I just love this prayer, and I hope you do too. I offer up this prayer for James, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. O Lord my God, teach my heart this day where and how to see you, where and how to find you. You have made me and remade me, and you have bestowed on me all the good things I possess. And still I do not know you. I have not yet done that for which I was made. Teach me to seek you, for I cannot seek you unless you teach me, or find you unless you show yourself to me. Let me seek you in my desire. Let me desire you in my seeking. Let me find you by loving you. Let me love you when I find you. Amen. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. That's a beautiful prayer by Saint Anselm. He lived in 1033 to 1109. That's a beautiful prayer. I love that prayer. James, I know you didn't ask for it, but later on after the show, I'm going to go offer up another prayer for you and light a candle for you. And please reach out to me and keep me posted on how things are going with you getting back involved in your church again. Let's check the mailbag. Rhonda S. from Texas. Hi, Rhonda. The black-eyed children is a big phenomena here. Yes, in Texas, yes, it happens to be. It may be more so there and anywhere else, I think, in this country. The black-eyed children. Now it's black-eyed everything, adults, men, women, children. Um, quite a phenomena. I know many who have encountered them, and I hear some exorcists tell of possessed people having black eyes. Do you feel the black-eyed children are demons? Demons mimic children, don't they? Yes, many times demons do mimic uh, children. So you got to be careful when you see children apparitions. And this is a great question to also throw past my guest today. But in my humble opinion, well, I don't know what the black eyed children are. They could be demonic. They could just be, extremely malevolent, non human entities. I'm not sure. But it is a very interesting phenomena. Yes, I have never seen a possessed person when the unclean spirit manifests itself show solid black eyes. I've seen the solid white eyes where the eyes roll back. I do know exorcists that have seen possessed people with the solid black eyes. That's pretty frightening. I have not seen that, but yeah, let me know. Keep me posted, Rhonda. On you sound like you're very into this. Keep me posted on your research and investigations of this phenomenon. I'd like to find out what kind of things you find out and keep me up to date on that. But I don't know what these are. They could be demons. They just could be extremely malevolent, non-human entities. But they always want to come in your house, or they always want to get in your car. I would say don't let them in. And I did work. Matter of fact, I worked a case that was featured on one of the episodes of Eli Roth Presents the Legion of Exorcists. If you saw it, you remember the young boy who let in the little boy spirit. Obviously, it wasn't just a regular little boy spirit. And I did not see the young boy with solid black eyes, but the mother reported a couple of times that happened to her child. Um, so that was scary. All righty. If there's anything you want to know about my wife and I and our ministry work, go to our website, www.ghost-be-gone.biz. If you go there to visit, keep in mind my wife and I don't charge for our ministry work, helping people with their paranormal issues. So trust me, brothers and sisters, I know times are tough, but if you go there to visit and you notice the donate button and you're able to do so, click on it and send my ministry in a small donation. I promise you it'll be appreciated from the bottom of our hearts, and trust me, we'll put it to good use. If you're having issues of a spiritual nature not attached to the paranormal and you'd like to speak with me, there's a place on the website where you can make an appointment to speak with me. I'm also a certified spiritual advisor, intuitive coach, listener. I'm a great listener. And I have one motto: you talk, I listen, no judgment. So if you'd like to speak with me, there's a place where you can make an appointment. Don't leave the website without navigating over to the page called Introduction to Spiritual Warfare Course/books. On that page, you will find both my books, God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry, and God, Ghosts, and the Paranormal Ministry 2. If you haven't done your good deed for the day yet, part of the proceeds of every sale of every copy of my books go to support stjude.org, St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital in Nevada, and the ASPCA. How cool is that? You get to help some of the neediest children on the planet and the animals too. You can get the book a little less expensive on Amazon, but if you buy it off the website, I autograph it because it leaves my office here, and I enclose it in a beautiful house blessing kit. So that's pretty cool too. Scroll a little further down, you'll see the Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course. I offer a 12-week online college level course, Introduction to Spiritual Warfare. And this is a perfect course for all you true warriors for Christ out there that want to have more knowledge when it comes to drawing your line in the sand, making a stand, putting up a good fight, perhaps the fight of your life against, God forbid, true evil if it ever comes calling. This is the course for you. No, it's not going to teach you how to be an exorcist. That's a completely different calling. But this is a course taught by me, unlike any course like it that you can enroll in out there. So if you're interested, you can enroll there on the website. If you want more information about the course, there is a Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course Facebook page, Shawn Whittington's Introduction to Spiritual Warfare course Facebook page if you want to read about the course. All my students that graduate get a stunning diploma, certificate of completion suited for framing, along with some other very special blessed items that you can only get from yours truly. Most importantly, please keep all of my former, current, and future students in your prayers. Okay, the reason why you all tuned in, like I said before, I've known her a long time. I consider her a good friend. I love her. I respect her. She's just super cool. I got to somehow find ways to get her on the show more often. And that's why you're all here too, because you all know her and love her. AKA Ghost Gal, um, General Manager for Things, Lead Investigator for Things, Colorado, um, Elite Ghost Hunter Buster, and she's just really cool. And my co-producer, married. Yeah, she's married to Zach. She's one of my co-producers. In fact, she discovered Zach. So, without further ado, please give a big, warm Paranormal Ministry family welcome to the one and only Adrienne Clayton.
Hey, hey.
What are you doing?
I am attempting to just breathe for a minute.
I love you. I haven't got a chance to tell you that in a long time. Um, yeah, I don't know why you're not on more often. You know why? Because I know you work. You and my wife are workaholics. That's what the two of you have in common. And when you're not working, you're always out doing stuff with things, which I think is very cool. So you're constantly honing your craft and doing really cool things. And this show um, is going to be so easy for me because as soon as I announced you were going to be on, people just start sending me in questions for you. So before I start just hammering you with Adrienne Clayton fan questions, how are you doing and what's new in your life that you feel you would like to share with all of your followers and fans?
I've been working 10-hour days, my choice, 12-hour days here recently, 6 days a week. Of course, my stupidity went, yeah, I'll volunteer. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. This is Friday. Tomorrow, we have some of the crew that went with us to the Abbey that we met up there. They're going to come here with their husbands and their family, and they're going to spend the night. And we investigated the house last weekend. Not the weekend before. We investigated this house. So we're going to come back and do it again and go over the evidence from the Abbey. But it's nice to make friends with new teams.
Very cool. You mentioned your house. Do you live in a haunted house too?
Oh, yeah.
I did. Where have I been? Have you told me that before?
No.
Please tell me about that. I now all of a sudden feel so close to you, closer than I already felt. Because I don't talk to a lot of people that well, people come to me needing help to get rid of that extra unwanted guest that's hanging out in their home. Um, and if I'm able to get it to go, fine. Sometimes I get the family and the ghost together and they make an agreement that they're going to try and live peaceably together. Sometimes it's something that really has to go, and if you know, I don't have any magic powers. I can't wave a magic wand to make these things go away. If I'm not successful in doing that, sometimes I hate to do it, but sometimes I have to tell the people just, continue to fight until you don't think you can fight anymore and just keep fighting or leave.
Yeah.
But not very often do I talk to somebody I know that's Zach's home.
Hmm.
Um, and I know it's an old home, but I don't, like I said, I didn't know it was haunted. Tell us about that.
This house was built in 1908, and his mother grew up here. And so she's still here, and she'll be here. We're here with her till she's gone. And then we're here. So, and it'll pass down to his children. But I think for our wedding, we had more spirit people here than we did living people. And some of them left. They were just here for a little while. But we have a man upstairs that I believe is Mom's grandpa. And on his death certificate, it says he died because his blood dried up. Now, mind you, this was 100 years ago, so who knows? I think his arteries hardened is what happened, but he was 101 or 102 years old.
Wow.
And there's a picture of him upstairs in his overalls, sitting in a chair out in the middle of a field, just looking at the field. And a lot of people have told me they see the guy in overalls. Don't know who that could be. I've never seen him. But in the corner upstairs, the hallway is red. And when I say red, I mean red. The carpet's red, wallpaper's red. It's been that way since the house was built. And his mom's sisters, there was 4 of them, 4 or 5. When the house would light up at night, all they saw was red. So people called it the whorehouse. I mean, that's what it looked like. Still does. But
That's funny.
yeah, we won't take it down. The red will stay. And we're going to try to match that wallpaper where it's been scuffed in places. But it's going to stay. The rest of the house will get redone, but that's going to stay. And in that corner, I've heard people say it's a portal. It's not a portal. It is just where somebody stands. And he stands there all the time. Why, I don't know. But he doesn't hurt anybody. He's as nice as he can be. Hi, Allison. There's a woman in the other window. Mom's friends have seen her when they come pick her up when she was young. Woman in white, the regular woman in white. Don't know who she is. Never seen her again. I wonder, looking at the old maps of these places, this was farmland. So it's hard telling what was on this land before. But I don't
And
get
you're just outside of Greeley, Colorado, correct?
We're in it.
You're in Greeley.
We're in it.
Yeah, the Greeley, there's a very old town, a lot of history there. There's no telling what that home was built on. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That is very cool. Yeah, you guys, you would know it. You especially would know. Here's another question I'm going to ask you. I've seen change. Everybody knows that you're married to Zach, and he's the one that's primarily in that seat that you're sitting in now, running my show on Fridays. I think it was a very wise move of him to not be in the room while you were on the show today. This is another reason why it would be not more. Has never been more on point. His producer duties as he's been this week leading up to your show. I got my link early. I got the event banner posted early. He's in a great mood when I log in about 15 minutes early to chat with him before the show goes live. And it's all because of you. So here we both know Zach's a bit of a skeptic. He's a healthy skeptic. He's not cynical about it. He's a healthy skeptic. He's open to the possibilities. He's passionate about it, but in different ways. And then he's married to you, the ghost gal. I've seen a lot of change in Zach since you two first got back together, and since I've met Zach and known him. And I was surprised that he was going with you. We can talk a little bit about the location later, but you guys went to a site. I think he went with you where all those children died in the bus crash.
Yes.
I don't see him going with you a lot on these things, so that was very cool. I liked that. I didn't want to make a big deal about it, but when he mentioned it, I thought that was very cool.
Mhm.
Where do you think he's at now, and how does that work? Like with my wife and I, we were both set up on a blind date. We didn't know it when we met, but it was meant to be. The rest is history. Um, but she's a three-time near-death experience survivor. Came back very sensitive to spirit.
Mhm.
Um, and we're both very passionate about the paranormal and life after death and
Mhm.
ghost hunting and ghost busting and paranormal investigating and all that and helping people.
Mhm.
So it was easy, but how is that been relationship wise with him being the skeptic, you being the diehard over the top believer, and then sometimes going in investigations? How has he come along with that since you two have gotten together?
Well, our first date when we got back together was I took him to the temple, and the one that had the experience was him. It wasn't me, it was him. And he, of course, there's thousand different things it could have been out of his perspective, but I know what it was. And anytime I go, if he can go, he goes. He has no problem with that. He wants to see it. He wants it to show him. Yeah, I'm here. Now, is that going to happen? I don't know.
He's
But
never seen any of the spirits that are in the house.
uh-uh, no, he
Very
only
interesting.
feels them sometimes watching him down here.
Very interesting.
But
How about his parents? Do you ever talk to them about that?
oh yes,
What do they say?
his daddy goes with us any chance he gets.
Really? That's so
He
cool.
actually took a course in college that was called the Paranormal course. It was an elective, and back then he's going on 70, and it was meditation. I think it was more trying to tune in and trying to mediumship is what it was.
Yeah.
What we know as mediumship now is pretty much what the course was. And he loves it. He goes with us. He's got his app and it's running. Like, but he's having fun. He loves it.
Has mom and dad encountered any of the spirits there?
Mom does, especially when she fell a few months ago. She broke her rib.
Yeah,
She
I heard
fell.
about that. Wow.
We really thought she was gone when that happened.
Wow.
She lost her mind for a few days. And I would talk to her and she'd say, yeah, and Mom, I need to go to the doctor with you because, we need to check your brain. We need to check for Alzheimer's. We need to check for dementia. And she's like, yeah, back then the doctors come to your house. I couldn't get her in the present. She knew she was in the present, but everything she talked about was past. And I'm like, 2.5 hours of this.
Wow.
And she told me about where they put their nose in the corner and what grandma would do. And I'm like, okay. Finally, she snapped out of it. Thank goodness. It was the pain. So, but she told me, she said, I walked down one day and she says, who is back there? I said, where? She said, somebody's back there banging cabinets. I said, Mom, nobody's back there. I'm the only one here. Dad's outside. You sure you didn't hear him shut the door or something? She goes, no, this has been going on right behind me in the dining room for 5 minutes now. No, Mom. But yeah, she believes it, but I think it scares her.
That's funny. You talk about cabinets slamming and stuff. Sometimes I'll tell people, yeah, all I heard was a few doors slam and some cabinets opening and shutting, and people that weren't there kind of go, oh, that's it. Ooh, really scary. But it's different when you're there and you experience that stuff.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor, they don't live there any longer. In the 20 years we've lived in this neighborhood, we've seen probably 6 families come and go from this home. We know it's extremely haunted. One day I pulled into the driveway from work. Sharon was already home. She just happened to be glancing out the front window as I pulled in the driveway. And the couple that lived in there at the time were much younger than us and they were bikers. But this young girl comes walking up the driveway to me, and Sharon immediately comes out to the driveway. What's going on? Because she sees this girl. And She goes, well, I'm the neighbor. I'm safe. I'm the neighbor. She goes, would somebody, I know what you guys do. Would somebody come over to my house real quick? My husband's gone and I don't want to go back in there. We didn't even question her what was going on. So Sharon goes over there with her. I said, Sharon, would you go? I think it's inappropriate. Her husband's not there. I don't think I should
Mhm.
go with her in there. So would you go with her? And I just got home. I was exhausted. I wanted to at least come in the house and get my dirty scrubs off and change and maybe come
Mhm.
back over. But in that time it took me to come in the house, change, grab something cold to drink real quick and start heading that way, Sharon was already coming in the door. And now this is an experienced paranormal
Mhm.
investigator that's married to me. She said I couldn't stay in there another second. She goes, I walked in there and the first thing I asked the lady was, who's doing all that work in the kitchen? She said it sounded like there was a construction crew in there. She goes, that's the ghost. I walked in and she said, honey, I saw every kitchen drawer opening and closing,
Oh.
every cabinet opening and closing, um, the dishwasher opening and closing, the sink water turning on and off, all at the same time. And it was so loud, I couldn't. I said something to the lady and she couldn't hear me,
Mm-mm.
but she was like frozen in fear. And she said I had to get out of there because in a matter of minutes, that all that energy that however many spirits were in there at the time making all of that stuff happen, all of that energy was coming down on her head, and she
Mhm.
instantly got this migraine that she could barely even walk home. She was like hanging on to bushes, hanging on to trees, hanging onto the car, walking up, doing this on the garage door. She was heading to the front door because it was just so much. Um, I know you're very sensitive to spirit. Put yourself in that situation. Tell me how you would have reacted and tell me what you think that migraine thing that she was experiencing might have been.
I definitely think it's energy, but it seems to me that energy affects people different ways. And if you're very sensitive, it can make you feel what they felt. It can it can make you sick. And I think somebody just said that, Allison. Um, it can it does a lot of things to you. It make you dizzy, nauseated, all kinds of things. But what was going on there? That would be a heck of an investigation. I
We
think that
tried
needs
to get in.
a
Every single family, I kid you not, every single family that lived there at one time or another in the 6 to 8 months, 1 year, 2 year period of time they stayed, at least once or twice had approached us to come over and investigate. And it just never worked out with
Mhm.
their schedules and our schedules. Um, I had gone over many times and blessed and cleansed the house and walked around the property and stuff. We don't really know what was going on there. And it's still like the house is empty today. Um, and what's funny is the people next door who I've gotten to know say that whatever is over there occasionally, because the house is empty and they have nobody to bug, they're like real
Mhm.
mischievous tricksters, these spirits. They come over to the house next door now.
Mhm.
I've never experienced that before. So now I have the neighbors next door saying we can tell when they come in, and then they're just they do their thing, they tease us, and then they're gone. But we know they're coming from that house next door. Just um, that's
Mhm.
just a I find that amazing. You know,
Has Sharon done like the history on the land or the house or anything like that?
we have contacted, I believe it's the county assessor
Mhm.
here in Vegas. You reach out to the county assessor and you can get a lot of information about stuff. We've also got several friends in the real estate business who can dig a little deeper for us.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, the information on the house gets to a certain, it's really weird. It gets to a certain point and then you can't, there's like no more information on the house.
Mm.
But the house was built like 79 or 80, same as our house. It's in the same, on the same street. But something's, I think it's more, I think you're right. I think there's something more with the land
Mhm.
than with what may have happened in the house. Because I think if something that awful happened in the house to pay that type of impression or leave that
Yeah.
type of spiritual residual behind, I believe there'd be record of it somewhere, but we haven't been able to find it.
Indian land, maybe, or Indian battle there.
Well, see, here you go. Right across the street, my house is haunted. The whole
Mm,
neighborhood is actually, our whole street is freaky. The
mhm.
people to the left of us, or actually to my right, if I'm sitting in the living room looking at my front door, the people to the right have had issues. They had somebody died in the home before they moved in, and they've come over and told us there's some weirdness there. The people to the left of us, their house actually burnt down.
Oh
An
wow.
unexplained fire started in their garage. Firemen were never able to determine what it was, but their house burnt down, and they had this beautiful Russian blue cat. And the people just disappeared for months while their house was being rebuilt. The cat was like, "Where's my family?" It came over to us. We just started feeding it. We put a nice big carrier out there with blankets and quilts over it, and the cat bed in there, and food and water. The cat just decided to hang out at our house, and when the family finally came back, they were calling the cat to come back. He didn't want to have nothing to do with them anymore after they took
Yeah.
off on him and left him with us. But he was the greatest cat. But that house too, the family living in there now is probably the fourth or fifth family. Definitely about the third family since the house was rebuilt that has moved
Mm,
in since that time. So it's the whole street. Um, I know about 5 blocks from here, I want to say, there's this park called um, the something trail. I forget. There's a famous old western trail that travels through the Vegas Valley, and there was a famous trail back in the day where people traveled from this part of the country to another. Um, and if you go to this park, they have saved a big portion of the trail right smack dab in the middle of the park. And there's like signs that you can walk the trail and see different signs and read what happened here. I've sat in that park many times at 3 in the morning with a tape recorder, and nothing has happened for 2 hours. I go home, I play the tape back. You can hear stagecoaches driving by. You can hear gunfire. You can hear Indians. It's a pretty trippy place. So I'm with you. I believe it's probably attached to indigenous
mhm.
um, uh, happenings
Yeah.
in this particular neighborhood. But I'm so proud of you. You know that I am. Things is growing. You've got things now. You're the general manager of things. You're also lead investigator of things of Colorado. Things. I just went to the website, and I was pleasantly surprised when I clicked on the directory and saw I'm one of the exorcists mentioned on the directory there. But
Mhm.
you guys are growing. You've got things in the Netherlands. You've got
Yeah.
things in the UK. There may be some other locations. Talk to me about, introduce things to everybody, how you got involved with that, and where things is going, because you guys are growing leaps and bounds. You've got the network. You guys are doing so many events. Talk to me about how you first got involved with things, where it's going, and I know you probably got some cool events coming up.
Actually, probably 4 years ago now, we were. I was helping with another network, and Jeremy was helping. He had things at that point, and all was it was just the Hoosiers Investigating Ghost Society, and it was his team in Indiana, and there was only like 4 or 5 of them, and that's all it was meant to be. And then some people wanted to do shows, so he did a network. And when the other network kind of went sideways, we just asked, I'll help you. It's okay. And it went from there to where it's like, okay, we got a lot of things going on here that, he says, yeah, so do you want to, let's do this, let's do that. And Nick Muley is, he's been with us from the beginning too. And he's, nobody would know it, but he's autistic.
Really?
Uh-huh.
You wouldn't ever know it. He's just very articulate, speaks well. He's great on camera. Yeah, you would never know.
So smart. He's our historian. He is amazing. You can tell him something and go back to him 3 years later and he'll tell you word for word what you said.
Yeah.
Okay, dude. But he was here with us last month when we all went. He got to come. His mom is amazing. His parents are attorneys and they're amazing people. So we talk to them quite often, but he is our international liaison.
Wow.
So he's on a show from, I don't want to get it wrong. I've been working so much, Pakistan. I want to say it's Pakistan.
Holy cow.
That he's a guest on that show quite often.
Wow.
And
I think I saw him on a live show this morning. And
probably.
I know you are on with him on Supernatural Talk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's busy too.
He really needs to stop and take a breath. He's very big, but he loves it. That's him. He's doing his audiobook again this year, Nightmare Soup audiobook. And he'll ask who wants to, and some of us will narrate, and then he'll publish the book. But what we do is more fun than anything else. We have built, like you said, your name was on there. We built teams, and teams we trust and know. You know, you don't just, hey, do you know somebody over here? And somebody answers. You don't know who you're sending to someone who came to you because they trusted you. So we built, you know, the like you as an exorcist. We have teams from around. We have Reiki masters. We have, you know, pretty much anything paranormal is there, but it's people we know. And it's people we trust that will do a good job. And if they can't do it, they'll say, okay, this is out of my league. You know, we need to find someone different, but they're not going to leave you. They're going to find you someone that they trust. So that's kind of, we're based on trust and openness with everyone. It's not a one of us, I don't think, has any secrets. We're all an open book. And our supernatural talk is just, yes, we have guests on once in a while, but it's usually us just cutting up and having fun. It's
a popular show. Every time I go on there and watch, I don't want to jump in there and start bugging you guys. I'm always so tempted to just get in the chat room and start teasing you guys and bugging you guys. But you guys are having such a great time, and you work well together and work off each other well. But I look over there and there's like 200 comments, and Lord knows how many people are watching live, which is very cool. So the show's popular. When can people watch? Where and when can people watch Supernatural Talk?
We're actually on Things Network. We're on Twitch. We're on, oh my gosh, I think he's got us even at TikTok now. He's got us on YouTube, everywhere. And I don't even pay attention to all that anymore. I'm like, that's you, bud. I don't even know anymore. But we do it 6 o'clock Mountain Time every Thursday. And most of it is just the way I look at it is us, we're relaxing. The audience gets to know who we are, who we as people are, because there's no niceties going on. We are who we are on there, and that's it. We have one fan, bless his heart, Brad. The show is not complete unless I give him a death threat. One day, I'm going to be arrested because he's going to come up missing. And I have put it out there every show that I'm going to bury him with his rear end up in the air so I can kick it. And it's going to happen. Yeah. I'm going to be arrested. And yeah. But no, he is actually one of our really good friends. And it just came into, it started out as fun. And now it has to happen. It just has to happen every show. And Nick, nothing irritates him more than somebody saying Illinois wrong. So every show has to have Illinois. But other than that, we answer questions from the audience. We have fun with people. A lot of times we'll bring somebody from the audience on just to have fun.
I have another question for you, and you always hate it when I ask you this question, but I'm going to do it again. Not because you hate it, but because I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. You went and told a story on a paranormal reality television show not too long ago, and I've been waiting for it to come out. Tell everybody what that was, and if you know anything more than I knew the last time I asked you this question.
It was on haunted hospitals, and I asked them to take it down.
Oh no.
I asked them not to publish it.
Why did you do that?
Because, first of all, I freaked in front of the camera to start with.
It happens. So do I. It happens. I wanted to see that.
They directed it a different direction that was not complete truth. And
oh, okay.
If I'm going to be an investigator that is transparent, that, I had to choose fame, my 10 minutes of fame, or my reputation.
I did not know that they'd done that. You should have reached out to me and talked to me about that. I didn't know.
Oh, I was hoping. They never did answer me when I told them I don't want this aired, and they never did answer. So
So as far as you know, it still might.
It was supposed to air the beginning of 2023, so I don't think so.
Wow, that's too bad. I'm sorry.
Hey, I had a hard lesson, and I'm glad I learned it before it was too late.
Okay, well, here's what we're gonna do. I was gonna quiz you a little bit about the location with where all the children died in the bus crash, and then have that lead into this question about the black-eyed children. But we've got a little time left, and this wasn't planned. But now we are going to do Paranormal Ministry version of the Haunted Hospitals edition episode with ADRIENNE Clayton, because I know the story rocks, and I want you to tell the story. And if this takes us to the end of the show, that's fine. But I want you to take this opportunity now to tell everybody about this. I'm telling you, back in my 20s, when I was a professional street dancer, and I used to travel down into like East LA to dance at a place called, oh my gosh, what was it called? Radio. And it was in the basement of an old abandoned building. And it was just wall to wall graffiti, and like Ice-T before he was famous used to be down in there with the gloves. Anybody who was anybody that was in the street dance scene that was good would get invitations to come to this show. And you could only get in through the bouncers if you were good and they knew who you were. But when I would come out and get a breather and walk in at 5 a.m. in the morning, you don't walk far when you're, a white guy in East LA, because that's all white fence territory and you don't want to get your ass kicked. But I would be walking around and I would see this old hospital. And one night I saw this nurse. I thought the hospital was closed down. And she said, you should go. I think she told me to go home. You should go home. And she turned around and walked back in this hospital. I thought about following her, but I got a little creeped out. All of a sudden, went back into this club. And many, many, many years later, I'm watching this paranormal reality TV show, and that hospital's on it. And it was, I didn't know at the time this was the hospital. I think it was called Linda Vista or Loma Vista or something like. It's a famous. Everybody's going to know what I'm talking about. I just can't remember the name, but it's a very famous old abandoned haunted hospital. And then I've had other, like the last year of my mother's life, the last couple of years of my father's life, when they were in hospice care in these hospitals, I would go in there and I would have the nurses coming up to me saying, "You got to come in here 3:00 in the morning sometime and walk around this place."
Here we go.
On it off the charts. So tell me, there it is, Linda Vista. Thank you. Please tell us the story. I'm going to shut up now because I'm ranting. This is your opportunity now to introduce to everybody the episode no one is going to probably get to see now, which I'm really disappointed. ADRIENNE Clayton on Haunted Hospitals via the Paranormal Ministry.
It really wasn't. I mean, I worked there for 5 years, and in the time I worked there was a custodian, and his wife was a nurse. They were older, probably late 50s. And everybody was creeped out by the guy. And I know why. But I smoked, so we went out. We would all go out and smoke. His wife was very, I guess, reserved. He, on the other hand, was very quiet until he wasn't. And he worshipped cats. He was into Egyptian stuff. And they had a lot of cats. Well, I thought that was strange all in itself and left it alone. And on Haunted Hospitals, they had asked me, my coworkers, and that was the story I told. And but what was happening was I was head cook. And so, we'd leave 7, 8 o'clock at night. And I would put the tea, those metal tea things that have the spouts on the bottom and the lid on the top that's metal. And, for the night shift, here, have it. We're all standing there, me, him, and his wife, at the end of a hallway. And the lid comes off the thing and flies down the hallway. I look at him. He looks at me. He says, that happens a lot. What? He says, so where you're at in this kitchen right now used to be the ER entrance. And one of the other ladies was leaving. She walked past behind me and she said, yeah. She said, where you stand there when you rinse your dishes? I watched my husband come through on a stretcher, dead. I said, oh, so that was a hospital, like ambulance entrance? She said, yeah. Okay. So that same year, my best friend come down the hallway, broad daylight, and she said, hey, Diane just died. No, Diane's in ER. I said, okay, what's wrong? She said, she's dead. So what do you mean she's dead? She said, she got shot. She lives on a farm. Okay, hunting accident. Mm-mm. Somebody came in the hospital and we had no clue. And this was a small hospital, dressed in fatigues. And she was on the phone talking to her daughter, making wedding plans. He walked up and point blank shot her in her head. Well, behind her was the doctor doing his little notes. His daughter standing beside him. And it hit the computer between them after it went through her head.
Wow.
Well, she panicked when she told me. She wasn't in ER. She was at the ICU round desk is where she got shot. We were on lockdown for 15 minutes before I knew anything happened.
Where'd the guy go? He just walked away?
Yes. He had 2 swords, the gun, and he walked out in the parking lot. Of course, he didn't get far. The police were chasing him out there.
I know this is going to sound weird, but at least it wasn't one. You're not telling me a story of, at least, well, one, you're here. God bless you for that. But that could have been an ugly situation. That could have turned into a mass shooting at a hospital of all things. How horrific is that? But was he just a crazy weirdo that just did what he did and walked out into the parking lot and got arrested?
He did have a mental issue, but in this small town, the sheriff was into a lot of things he shouldn't have been. And that's how this mental patient got a gun. And without, going through the background check and everything he needed to do. So, and he was also part of 2 girls missing in that same town. But, he was also a pastor, by the way. He was into a lot of things. But, and that, we never saw her. As a matter of fact, that ties into those girls. She was getting ready to go on, wasn't Most Wanted. It was like the mystery show that used to air. Matter of fact, it might still, but Unsolved Mysteries. Yeah. She was getting ready to go on there a month from then, and they shot her. They had already called her and told her, if you go, you're going to die. And she did. She didn't go. They made sure she didn't. Wow. But that was a small town that was kind of crazy. But that hospital in itself, we would see dark figures going down the hallways. And a lot of people said that they would enter a room, then that person would die. I didn't see that myself, so I'm not saying that, but I have seen the figures. And, you know, we fed all the patients. So the patients got to know us. I was 9 months pregnant and would take, you know, the food. One guy that had cancer, he said, hey, sweetheart. So, you know, I have to die before you can have that baby, right? I said, what? I said, no, you don't. He said, yeah. He said, somebody has to die to make room in this world for another one. And that's me. And I'm proud to do it. Okay, somebody's giving him too many meds. I went into labor that night. And they heard a code for a warm blanket and birthing. It's just a code. And it has nothing to do with the warm blanket. But he said, is that her? Is she in labor? To the nurse. And she said, yeah, she's in labor. He said, give her this blanket. I said, no, really, she has blankets. I said, no, give her this blanket. And they came back. She was dead. He was dead. So, you know, it's like they know. But yeah, lots of interesting things happen in the hospital. But they tried to lead me into that the janitor was doing all these things and that he was like a demon or something. And that's just not the case. I mean, yes, he was eccentric. Yes, maybe he had some things attached to him. But no, he wasn't doing things to people. So that was like, no, we're not going to. And of course, there was no names named. But I'm just not going to ruin somebody's character or my own by telling a story that's not quite right. I think a lot of those aren't quite right. So.
Well, maybe you will get another opportunity to tell that story. I know I've kidded you around. I mean, you've had a lot of experiences in your life, and we've kidded around about this before. Any more thought about? You're so busy. I know that's what the answer is going to be, but have you given it any thought about pen to paper and putting these stories in a book?
Actually, I do when I have between calls, but it's actually not been those stories. It's been more of a life story than anything else because, you know, I think that's probably where it started to begin with because I was given up for adoption. Then my mom died that adopted me when I was 8. I was adopted again. You know, so it's been a roller coaster, but I think that's where a lot of it started. It was the interest in it. I know that's when my mom died. I was like, if there's really such thing as paranormal, she'd come see me. So there's no ghosts until I started investigating about 6-7 years ago now. Now I know better.
Well, you did. Like I said, you go out. What are we at? 2:53 here. We got a couple of minutes before I have to say goodbye. I know I knew the hour wasn't going to be long enough to be with you, and this gives me an excuse to get you back here. I know it was not. Zach looked forward to being able to just kind of get out of the room and watch you run the show and watch the show from another room.
Yeah.
So that was nice. Real quick here, what do you think about this? Rhonda from Texas, and I happen to know I was just not too long ago read an article about Texas probably being on the top of the list of this phenomena with the black-eyed children. And then I actually remembered thinking just recently here about you going to that location where all the children died in a horrific bus accident. I don't have all the answers, but I truly feel I very rarely encounter children's spirits. And this is why I feel that's why usually when a child spirit appears to me, I can usually tell that it's really not a child spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the guardian angels really work overtime in making sure the children at their passing get taken to heaven. at that time. I don't think they allow them to linger around. Like sometimes adults get stubborn, and if it's a loved one who's already crossed over saying come, or their guardian angel saying you got to go, you're of the ages now. Sometimes, we have free will in death. Sometimes stubborn adults we won't. But I think the children they're just taken up. Um, what do you think about this black-eyed children phenomena? Now you're hearing about black-eyed adults, men and women adults, black-eyed children, of course.
Mhm.
But they're not only showing up on the side of roads hitchhiking, but they're showing up like in cemeteries. They're showing up at people's front doors. That case that I worked that was featured in the show, the little boy, this kid was wanting to play with him at the park, and he left, and the kid followed him home, and
Mhm.
he tried to tell his mother that she didn't believe him.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff they left out of the show, but then later the kid showed up at the back door, and the young child let him in the house. What do you have an opinion on the black-eyed children and children spirits and demons pretending to be that and all that?
I have an opinion, but it's not a popular opinion. I think now, Zach's been doing some studies where he's going through different religions and studying different religions. Now, a lot of them have the same tie to, as far as what we're supposed to do in life, what we're not supposed to do in life, morals. But the Bible says that God will come back and get his children when the world ends. He's going to come back and get them. Now, I don't mean just children. I mean all of us. So I think we roam this earth until then. That's my theory. Now, I do believe angels are going to protect the little kids, and they're not going to let them just wander. They're going to protect them in an area with them. I'm sure a lot of times they'll go home and visit their parents or things like that. But the black-eyed children, I read something that really made sense, as much sense as it can make. The thin man, the top hat man, the black-eyed children. There's quite a few, even like the Jersey Devil, which I think that's the bat. But, I do believe that we can conjure things. It's not so much conjuring as you put enough thought into something that it manifests something. So one person drew this little, black-eyed child or the thin man, and all of a sudden it appears everywhere. Well, because it was put in your head, and there it is. And then you do it enough, just like, somebody who has depression or is just, they can have that black cloud around them that manifests some nasty energy. And I think that's a lot of what it is just, we put enough thought into it. We put enough belief into it. Well, there it is. I have personally not seen one. I don't want to. That's not something I would like to encounter. But, if I do, that's when it's time to get out the holy water. It's time to get out whatever you got on you and figure out what it is that way. But I think if it's demonic, it's going to do damage. It's going to not show itself. It's going to come in and just kind of fester until, well, you've seen when people need an exorcism, they don't just all of a sudden, oh, there's a demon here with me. It's a gradual thing that you don't even notice until it's too late. So I think those are something completely different.
I love you.
Love you too.
I so am realizing that I need to try to get you on more, but I don't like to bug you. I know you're busy. Did you have fun when you come back?
Of course.
I will throw some dates at you because there's some other things I want to talk to you that we need a chance to. And I'm going to get up some hate mail today because I didn't touch one question on this list of your friends that sent me in questions. I'm really a bad host. I'm sorry.
Tell them
Give
to watch
Zach
Supernatural. They can see anything they want.
Give Zach a big hug and a kiss for me. Thank you so much for being here. Have a wonderful, wonderful remainder to your Friday evening and a great weekend. And I'll be talking to you soon.
Jennifer, thank you. Jennifer says, Nice to meet you. Thank you for the presentation. Jennifer, thank you for being so active in the audience. We appreciate that. Now, if I can find, there we go. All right, y'all.
You know how to run my clothes?
I do.
Okay.
I think I'll remember. Bye, y'all.
All right. I'll see you later.
Okay.
Bye-bye. Adrienne Clayton, my co-producer, just in the cool gal. Okay. Running out of time here. What do I want to talk to you guys about? Well, I want to tell each and every one of you how much I love you all for being here. I do this show because of you guys. USOCC.org. Just go there and be pleasantly surprised. BishopJamesLong.com. Just go there and be pleasantly surprised. If you like night prayer, it's every every weeknight, Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific. If you like Bible study, it's every Wednesday afternoon and Sunday afternoon at 5 p.m. Pacific. You can find the links to both of those at either one of those websites or both of them. And that's the church I belong to. So that's very, very cool. I want to thank Adrienne and Zach for being my co-producers. I couldn't do this show without them because Zach always jokes around about being a button monkey, but he's so much more than that. So is Adrienne. And I can't even do that. I can't even run my own show. So God bless them both for doing that. Go to Zach's website. Check it out. communitypayitforward.us. Again, just go there and be pleasantly surprised. It's all about helping people. So find somebody to help there. That's very cool. Next week's guest. I will be back with an all-new live show next Friday, the 15th. Carol Hughes will be here. You all know her. The Graves Talks podcast. She created that and hosts that. And she's going to be a great guest next week. Again, you can watch Eli Roth Presents Legion of Exorcists, Discovery Plus, Max. It's streaming there. You can buy the whole season 1 for $10 at Amazon Prime Video. You can find me now at Lawrence Morais, Shawn Patrick Whittington. My original profile got deactivated. I still don't know why or how. So if you were a friend of mine and I disappeared on you, it wasn't my fault. But you can find me now on Lawrence Morais, LAWRENCE Morais, MORACE. That's my new Facebook profile. Lawrence Morais is a stage name, and you'll also see Shawn Patrick Whittington in parentheses after it. Thank you to Things Network. Thank you to Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment. Thank you to Skeleton Key Network. Thank you to PACT, little p, capital ACT, Podcasting for All Coming Together channel, for all these networks simulcasting my show. God bless you all for doing that. And it is bad joke time. I'm going to pull a bad joke that one of you sent in out of this haunted carnival barker hat. And it's my poor attempt to put a smile on everybody's face before I say goodnight. Hopefully it's funnier than last week's joke. Why did the Invisible Man turn down a job offer? He couldn't see himself doing it. Good night, Danny. Good night, Jack. Good night, Dog. Good night, Harold. Rest in peace. Good night, Ernie. Good night, Bill. Good night, Dan. I love you all. God bless you all. Peace.